Comments? Councilmember Khamis?
Yes, and I hopefully you recall, Raul, I actually was very much against this proposal when it first came to council, and it's taken me a long leap of faith to accept what's currently on the table and what I currently drafted in my memo to make me accept what this is. I was calling this a best friend proposal, and this could very well become a best friend with the I'm going to use the same word, squishy language that we currently have in there. I think the word labor compliance can be interpreted on any given Tuesday to mean whatever we desire. And I think, and so I've had a meeting with Matt, we sat down, and Lee, and we sat down and we hammered out what does it mean, and we put it in exactly as what Matt had advised me. And I think it's important, if you want unanimity and you in this proposal, if you felt comfortable with what Matt had described to you, you should be feeling comfortable with what the memo has said. And I ask you to recall your substitute motion, because I want us to be united in voting yes for this. Otherwise, I will not vote for the substitute motion as it stands. And as far as the mayor's memo is concerned, I have no problem with accepting the entire bit where you want to make your proposal, your ballot measure statement and what have you. And so I would incorporate your memo into my motion as well.
Okay, Councilmember Khamis, does that address the concern you raised?
Absolutely not. I think we went back to square one, and I'm not supporting this. It would be under the charter, very unclear. And on any given Tuesday, as you described, we can come and change the ordinance. So I'm not supporting well, if there was no change, and there won't be a change until, somebody makes a law, but that ordinance can be changed on any given Tuesday. And the whole point of me writing this memo was to clearly define wage theft. And I know you're concerned with wage theft, and I am too, Councilmember Arenas, and that's why I specifically spelled it out. And I think as long as you're not being specific, you're leaving it up to people's future interpretations, and those interpretations can change, as Rick Doyle just said, and I won't be supporting the current motion because it really hasn't changed.
Councilmember, yep.
It's a follow-up question, Mayor. So this would be to Councilmember Khamis, and I wonder if I know that these are some of the things that we on the dais have discussed. We've heard testimony from both sides, the companies and the businesses, and then the labor force as well. And so I just wonder if this list was comprehensive, or if you checked in with some of the folks who, I don't know all the labor compliance, I'm not going to pretend to know, but I would ask somebody who did know, right? And so I'm just wondering if this was pretty satisfactory to those folks. I'm not sure.
So to be clear, I checked in with Matt, who actually is in charge of the public works process. And when we discussed it, I said, this is a little squishy. What do you mean by this? I don't think I used the word squishy. I think that's
I know. I think we're adopting it. I think now it's a word.
But I said, this is a little ambiguous. What is it that you specifically mean? Because I think I can, on any given Tuesday, I can interpret labor compliance to mean whatever.
Yeah.
Whether a cigarette break or whatever it is that future council members have to vote on or whatever. And I said, can we nail down this language? And he said, this is what I mean. And so that's what I put in my memo. So
this is what Matt meant.
This is exactly what Matt said. So I put that in the memo, and that's why I did the memo.
Based on Muni
based on the specifics of the job that the specifics of the bidding process, and quite frankly, our bidding process right now is lowest cost responsible bidder, and this whole list of new criteria, I'm already afraid that it's going to be too laborious for some of our smaller companies to comply with. And if the truth be told, I think that this will actually decrease competition. I am trying my hardest to work with all of you to come to a understanding where I can actually vote with the rest of you, and to try to make this process a little bit better.
Right.
That's why I asked for Matt to clearly define what he thought of when he was when he put the word in labor compliance. That's where I'm at. I think that on any given Tuesday, if new norms are coming, we can address those at that time. If there's a cigarette break necessary in the future, I mean, we can easily do that in an ordinance. But we can't do is go back and change the charter, and to make it to make the charter more restrictive, right?
Right.
So.
I think you also make my argument, because if it's on the charter and if it's listed, then we're bound by those things that are just listed.
Yeah.
So I could see it both ways. I don't know if, Matt, you have, I apologize if you've already been asked this question, but I wonder if this was an exhausted list, or you just looked at the Muni Code and then listed
Sure.
those for him.
Thank you for the question. So, see if Rick will